It's me, D'Angelo CNN. I got, D'Angelo CNN, the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978. Now, if this guy was fired for his political affiliations, which is what I believe, all right, by two robots in the White House, he got a big case. All right. First of all, this is my page, and first of all, okay, he could appeal that case, and the agencies are listed under the Federal Reform Act of 1980. I put it on YouTube. Okay. Basically just, Jeff Sessions should be arrested. I know these people wouldn't do that if they didn't make them do it, but, the guy who's making them do it is a loony bin. And I have a big problem with this guy. That's why I'm in a shelter. Okay? You got political rights in this country. Okay? And, the MSPB conducts studies of the Federal Civil Service and hears appeals of federal employees who have been disciplined or otherwise separated from their positions. Personal actions will discriminate among employees based on marital and political activity or political affiliation are prohibited by the CSRA. Federal employees may file complaints regarding possible violations of this rule with the Office of Special Counsel, which was created as a subunit of the MSPB. And yada, 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 yada. All right? No one says I have to tell the truth to the media. Now, they fired a guy for candor with the media. No one says I have to tell the truth to the media. All right? And this guy's law enforcement. He has the right to make those personal decisions. And, as long as it doesn't infringe on an investigation. Those were departmental rules when I was an officer. All right? He didn't slander anyone. He didn't mistreat anyone during his briefings. He just basically gave his opinion of what he felt was right or what he felt was the truth, and they didn't agree with that. That's not a reason to fire Angelo McCabes, a decorated deputy director of the FBI. There's no reason for that, all right? It's my First Amendment right to lie also, all right? With on the attention of June 28, focused on U.S. Supreme Court ruling on the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Another decision that day was made, United States versus Alvarez, largely escapes notice. In the Alvarez, the court declared the unconstitutional the Federal Stolen Valor Act as violating the First Amendment. Perhaps the most important, the court made clear that there is generally a First Amendment right to lie. The Stolen Valor Act makes it a federal crime for a person to claim falsely that he had received military honors or decorations. That is very broadly written. For example, there's no intent or requirement. Whatever, man. They come up with these laws saying that you can't say certain things or if you make a mistake. Anyway, the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978. All right. There's a whole, there's a bunch of laws that this falls under. And, the firing of a decorated FBI deputy director, I believe is cruel and unusual punishment. Okay? And that falls under the Eighth Amendment. And that's not limited to people in prison. All right? That's cruel and unusual punishment, plain and simple. All right? And clearly, the First Amendment protects the individual's right to freely exercise one's religion. Legally, the freedom of association is considered to be a fundamental right protected by the Constitution. In the Supreme Court case of the double NAACP, Alabama, 1958, a unanimous court ruled that the NAACP did not have a right to reveal the Alabama Attorney General the names and addresses of the NAACP members in the state because it would violate the NAACP members' freedom of association. Right, in the courts, Justice John Marshall Harlan II, in the decision that immunity from state scrutiny of membership lists. Here's so related membership to pursue their lawful private interests privately and to associate freely with others. That's your First Amendment right, plain and simple. All right. His wife's political affiliation, because she was donating money to the Democratic Party, doesn't give Donald Trump and a right to fire this guy. All right. Freedom of assembly is your right to assemble and petition the government. Who assembles? Who assembles that? Our organization. That's who. Why? They are affiliated. So if we don't have the right to freedom of affiliation because they took that out the books, then there's no Church of Satan or Communist Party either. We got to get rid of them. That's a terrorist organization anyway. Brennan Center for Justice, 20 years. Strengthening Presidential Ethics Law. Right? That's a book that needs to be studied. All right? All right? Ethics and Government Act. All right? Wikipedia. I mean, this guy, he changes everything. This guy running around changing everything. All right? This guy changes everything. All right? All right? Which is why I'm putting this, so this guy can't change it. Because they're starting to change the laws on us. And a lot of people are not studying the law. Okay? They're not studying the law. They're just not studying the law, dude. And then the guy goes and he changes the laws around because he got everybody on remote control. Some sicko crackpot. All right? He's a sadist. He got people controls on the population, man. All right? And he's running around changing things online. He's running around, and what he does is he climaxes off of abusing you with a device on you. Oh, yeah, he's a sexual sadist. He's a sicko. He's changing everything online. I don't really believe Donald Trump is responsible for him being, for the deputy director of the FBI being fired. I really don't. I mean, I think we have to go through formalities by the law and still prosecute. I think we should exonerate him after a while, after we make him force them to go through polygraphs and we get those devices off of them. But that's it. All right? I really don't. Okay? Angelo McCabes is a victim of abuse of executive power. This violates ethics laws, and that's why we have an ethics committee. Not only that, it's a clear violation of the First Amendment, a Privacy Act of 1974 also, the 8th Amendment, and the 14th Amendment. There's a sadist controlling our executive office. He likes to change, the laws around. He goes online, he just changes it. Right? The essential predicate is that punishment must not be in severity, be degrading to human dignity, especially torture. Degrading to human dignity is that if I'm a 22-year veteran in law enforcement in the FBI, and I'm the deputy director, and you fire me 4 days before, all right? You fire me 4 days before I'm about to get my pension. That's degrading to my dignity. Severe punishment that's obviously inflicted in wholly arbitrary fashion, temporary suspended, but severe punishment that is clearly totally rejected throughout society. A severe punishment that is patently unnecessary. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All right. It's a well-known phrase. Declaration of Independence. That phrase gives 3 examples of unalienable rights, which is what makes us a republic. All right? Because you got unalienable rights, which the Declaration says has been given to all human beings by their Creator, and which governments are created to protect. All right? The story doesn't fly with me. All right? This violates ethics and should be in front of the Ethics Committee immediately. All right? The 8th Amendment, after 22 years of service, some loudmouth becomes president and his attorney general fire a distinguished FBI director, some new department that he had to use candor with the media, and he's law enforcement. This is cruel and unusual and lacks ethics. Plain and simple. Right? That violates the 8th Amendment. They violated his First Amendment. They violated the 8th Amendment. They violated the Privacy Act of 1978. All right? They violated the Civil Service Reform Act of 1978. They violated all kinds of laws with that. All right? After 22 years. All right? They got no problem. They have no right to meddle in his wife's affairs and any of his political affiliations. Trump's violated, not only that, they violated his 14th Amendment, which is fair and equal treatment. Under the First Amendment, you have a right to freedom of expressions. That's political also. Your First Amendment right. Second Amendment right to violate your rights and fire you after 20 falls under cruel and unusual punishment. Not only that, that's a 14th Amendment violation. Candor with the media. He's law enforcement. Oh, let me show you what I bought. All right, that's it. That's some of my page. I'm extremely disrespectful to the devil on my page.
This shit clean, son. This shit, man.